Hey folks, Sobora here. I'm finally back doing a movie review this week after taking a bit of a long break. The last review I did was a New Year's Eve special of Peanuts because it did air on Apple TV Plus, so I wanted to get it right through it for New Year's Day. So I had to concentrate on doing some more commercial breaks that I found online, despite the fact that I got a cold. Yes, so I'm trying to get better, which I am, thank goodness. We had to go to urgent care trying to get a prescription for cold medicine and antibiotics so I could feel better, and then I had to put the electric heater on so that way, the entire room doesn't get too cold, so it can be really warm. So that way I could feel better. That's why I had to wear the sweater of Napoleon Dynamite throughout it. But I was relaxing. I've been taking some medicine. I took some cough drops that we got. I did actually went out to get something at Dollar Tree and Target. I wanted to get some movies, since I had the gift card from Target for Christmas that my family gave me. So it's really cool. And so don't worry, it's not COVID though. I'm definitely getting better. And I'm really proud of it. I hope I'll survive for 2022. Because this is a new start of the year. Anyway, I'm actually wearing my brand new Spider-Man t-shirts. Yep. Our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, as we know it. Swinging into action for his next adventure. And he's looking really cool. I love it. I'm so glad that I'm wearing this. And the reason why I'm wearing it is because I want to prepare myself to do my review of the latest Spider-Man movie, part of the MCU as we know it. Yeah, it's already at its 27th film. And it's the continuation of Tom Holland's, directed by John Walt's Spider-Man film franchises, joining in with all the other Spider-Man films, the Sam Raimi trilogy and the Mark Webb double feature, and even all the other ones that follow, and all these other Marvel films as we know it. It's called Spider-Man No Way Home. Going back to Spider-Man Far From Home, yeah, that was the one where Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, played by Tom Holland, had to go on a school field trip to Italy, joining with his friends, including Ned and Michelle Jones, MJ, where all of a sudden he gets a distraction, having to work with the SHIELD team, which includes Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson, to do an assignment, and also a mysterious superhero who turns out to be the villain, Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, who was, of course, Quentin Beck, as we speak. Now, if you saw the post-credits of that movie, this is where we find out that now J. Jonah Jameson, played by J.K. Simmons, had began to spot a news report. Yes, one of those Fox News or any other types of news programming that they do, where they revealed that that Quentin Beck had framed Peter Parker for his death, and now it was broadcast all over Times Square, all the way around New York, and just when he was already swinging with Michelle, this happened. So this time around, Peter Parker decided to actually find a way to clear his name by meeting Dr. Stephen Strange to open a new spell to actually go back to the way it was and try to erase everything that happened, so that way no one could find out his identity. But that led to bigger trouble when he opens the multiverse of all the Spider-Mans, not to mention their villains that came directly from the Sam Raimi trilogy and the Mark Webb double feature as we speak. Yeah, where Tobey Maguire was Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, Parker 1, and Parker 2 is Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker and Spider-Man, as we know it. So now it reveals the villains of Dr. Otto Octavius, who was played by Alfred Molina. Then we got Dr. Kirk Connors, aka the Lizard, by Ifans. We also got Electro, who was played by Jamie Foxx. We got Sandman, who was played by Thomas Haden Church. And, as we know it, the Green Goblin, which is Norman Osborne, played by Willem Dafoe. But I was really looking forward to this because I know Sony was fighting so hard to get their act together with Disney to finally make a new one, because they were almost this close to not making another Spider-Man, and I know that sucks. Like, they almost couldn't get Tom Holland to do it, but that led to a lot of negotiations, especially with the fans and all. They were desperate because they don't want to see another cliffhanger in their hands, so that was the case. And apparently this was going to be pretty much the biggest event since Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame. If that was the case, to see what happens next. Now, when they finally filmed the movie and they got everything together, yes, it's been leaked on the internet because they're trying to reveal that they might be able to see them. And I know I do my best to avoid all the spoilers because I want to see the movie, joining in with my family, so we all want to gather around to have a great time, not to be spoiled. But so far so good. It's becoming the highest grossing film after it came out in December 17. It just made over $1.5 billion worldwide, so I'm glad it's finally getting there, because now people are finally getting to see this movie in theaters and not sitting at home watching it online, on demand, or through streaming. I mean, it will be available on digital later on, but we just gotta wait, okay? We want theaters to survive, okay? I know it's hard because of this pandemic, but this is the reason why, we want to be able to go out more often than we should. But we'll try to be safe. We can fight all this. We can. And I just want to make sure, everything will be safe to try everything out, so we don't, we don't get sick or anything. We want to be as immune, and we want to be strong. We want to live as long as we could. Not turn into this yet another, variant that we're getting. Because I know that it just keeps getting worse and worse with this idea. It should have been over by now. So we're getting tired of it. And there will be a new sequel coming up. It's already currently in development, so hopefully everyone will be alright by then. But I'm just really happy that, this is exactly what we've been waiting for. Okay. Yes, there's going to be spoilers in this review. If you haven't seen the movie, this is another example why you don't watch the review until after you see it. So I've been saying this many times already. I know there have been a lot of complaints nowadays when it comes to spoilers, but come on, we've been there after the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, and I know people even spoiled even before that. Okay, I get it, alright? But enough is enough. This is why people need to go out more often. Because if they don't, then they're missing out. And that's their fault. And that's pretty much your fault, too. So, I'm sorry, but I mean, maybe it's my fault as well. But anyway, let's get to the review. It stars Tom Holland, Zendaya, Benedict Cumberbatch, Jacob Batalon, John Favreau, Jamie Foxx, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Benedict Wong, Revolori, Marisa Tomei, Andrew Garfield, Ifans, Thomas Haden Church, Charlie Cox, yes, surprise cameo, Tom Hardy, J.K. Simmons, and Tobey Maguire. It's written by Chris McKenna and Erik Sommers, based upon the Spider-Man comic by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, and it's directed by John Watts. The movie begins after Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, who's played by Jake Gyllenhaal in a tiny role, which we saw in the post-credit of Spider-Man Far From Home, who framed Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, played by Tom Holland, for the murder and revealing his identity. So, just on this particular scene where Spider-Man is swinging on his web, holding his girlfriend, Michelle Jones, aka MJ, played by Zendaya, going around Times Square, that's where he begins to see the broadcasts of this Fox News type of news program, which we spotted J. Jonah Jameson, played by J.K. Simmons, as you may remember from the Sam Raimi trilogy. How did he got here? We never know. But hey, he's doing great. That's where he begins to find out after they broadcast this one video just when Quentin Beck was already dying as we know it, and this is where he reveals it. That led to bigger problems because now the entire town, the entire city of New York is going after him. They already spotted on their phones, so now he's in bigger trouble. They're already throwing bricks at him. The whole media is going after him. They're now calling him #1 public enemy. So in order to find a safer place to get out of Parker's home, living with Aunt May, yes, so Parker, along with MJ, Ned Lees, his best friend, played by Jacob Batalon, and Aunt May, played by Marisa Tomei, are being interrogated by the Department of Damage Control, which that didn't seem to work out. So they hired the lawyer Matt Murdock, played by Charlie Cox, in a cameo role, best known as Daredevil from the Netflix series. They try to get Parker's charges to drop, but unfortunately the group grapples with negative publicity that was going around. And so they actually found a safer place because they just threw a brick. The entire mob had done it, throwing a lot of damage. They even messed up Parker's Spider-Man suit too by dumping green paint. They had the head of security of Stark Industries, Harold Happy Hogan, played by John Favreau, to have him stay at his apartment so that way they'll be safe. So at this rate, they're about to, because of what happened already with the situation, Parker, MJ, and Ned were about to apply to MIT, but they got rejected. Due to the events. So Parker goes to New York Sanctum just for help to ask Dr. Stephen Strange, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, to suggest a spell to make everyone forget that Parker is Spider-Man. But that led to problems because now, with all the repeated requests that he was doing, keep changing everything that he asked, that led to opening a multiverse that's, even he had trouble trying to stop the spell, so he basically kicked Parker out. And I know for that scene alone, I mean, you did get to spot Wong, who's played by Benedict Wong, where the entire sanctum is already snowed in. Okay. So Parker tried to convince the MIT administrator to reconsider MJ and Ned's applications, and hoping that he'll be able to apply as well. But then he was being attacked by, as we speak, Dr. Otto Octavius, Doc Ock, played by Alfred Molina, which he looks quite different now than he did in the Spider-Man 2. So of course he rips Parker's nanotechnology from his iron Spider-Man suit that he has, which then bonds with mechanical tentacles that he has. Yeah, right in the freeway, and suddenly he pretty much is on control with his tentacles. So he definitely. So of course it was going to allow Parker to disable them, but so they finally stop it. But then Norman Osborn appears as the Green Goblin. Just showed up right in the middle of the attack in the freeway, and then suddenly got teleported back to the sanctum. Yeah, and eventually locks Octavius in a cell next to Kirk Connors, because he was found. Yes, Dr. Kirk Connors, aka Lizard, who's played by Ifans. So Strange explains that before he was unable to contain the corrupt spell, that it summons some people from other universe as we know it. So that means, for those who already know who Spider-Man's identity is at. So that's where he orders Parker, MJ, and Ned to find out and then capture them all, because they're going to appear as we know it. So of course Parker just went by somewhere in the forest where it had all these electrical towers, where that's where we spot Electro, who's played by Jamie Foxx, and then we even spotted Sandman, who's played by Thomas Haden Church, which at this rate the real names are Max Dillon and Flint Marko. Yeah, Flint Marko, of course, is a small-time crook, as you may spot him in Spider-Man 3. I'm not the biggest fan of Sandman, the character, not even in the comics and all, but I can understand because he did have some nice powers here and there, but it's just a pretty boring villain, in my opinion. Electro's okay though, but hey, what are the odds? Because I know, because he was an outcast too. I mean, he was a scientist who wants to be able to, you know, come up with a new experiment, which led to him becoming Electro. So now he pretty much controls electricity. So that's where it gone completely wrong, if you remember The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So anyway, so now we get to see Norman Osborn, and he's played by Willem Dafoe, who claims to control himself by his split personality as the Green Goblin. So he goes to the Feast building, yeah, F-E-A-S-T, where Aunt May is at, by comforting him before Parker arrives to retrieve him. So now they're going to be able to send them back to the sanctum. And yeah, Strange came by, trapped him, and he was already ready to create this one box that will send them back to where they are. But Parker refused to do that, so of course he had to steal the box, yeah, before Strange was almost going to press the button. And I know MJ and Ed were still trying to help him out. So at that rate, Parker escapes as Spider-Man, stealing the box, and then while Strange is ready to go after him, and that's what led to this big portal scene and all, and everything was going out of control. So of course Parker decided to send him straight into his portal, and now he's going to go back to actually trying to help all the villains out, you know, go back to their normal ways, so that way they won't lead to their fates. So, because with Stark's technology that he has, he was going to find a way to actually fix all this. Joining in with the help of MJ and Ned. So, and also May, just in case. So everything was going quite smoothly as they could. I mean, they already had fixed a device for Otto, and that worked. And then they were going to try to do this for Electro, Max, and that took some time, and that works. And then they try to do that for all the other villains to join, but then this is where Parker had a spider sense, where now we begin to see what happens next. And that's where the Green Goblin, split personality for Norman Osborn, suddenly appears, and this is where he's going to start stealing everything that he has, and even worse, he's going to start attacking people. So he's about to escape. Yeah, I mean, that's where it led to what happened towards the middle part of the scene where, and this is a very sad scene, because after the attack inside the building, apartment complex, everything was getting destroyed and all. Yeah, the Goblin just threw in a bomb, and even froze in his flying device that he has, where he just spins around, flying everywhere, and just throwing all these bombs. Aunt May got killed. Yeah, it was very sad. And this is where we had this more familiar line as we speak. You may have heard of this in the first Spider-Man, that Uncle Ben had said, which is, with great power, there must also come great responsibility, as quoted. And that's a very famous line as we speak, and it could be remembered by. So, she passed away, and Parker had escaped, just when the entire SWAT team came by, was shooting him. I mean, J. Jonah Jameson came by to find out where he's at, and also to report, because he wants to get his latest story. Not to mention Dr. Connors, the Lizard, just escape, along with Sandman and Electro. Even Otto, Octavius, had escaped. So he's left all alone, hoping that he won't get caught by the cops, as well as the entire mob mentality. And then Ned, who just took out the ring that that opens the portal, that Parker just stole. He started to use it, trying to see if it can open up to bring Peter Parker straight into their world. It turns out that because by this mistake, that's where we begin to see two Peter Parkers as we know it. Yeah, first it was Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, going inside Ned's apartment with, or at this rate, Ned's grandmother, I think, or mother. Well, anyway. And then, next thing you know, he brought back the other Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, and that's, as we know it, Tobey Maguire. So, we finally get to see those two. And I was really happy. So, now they're about to look for the Peter Parker they know from their universe, who's already feeling very sad and lonely now that he's all alone after the loss of Aunt May. And hopefully maybe he'll find a way to fix all these problems, because he's already being frustrated now that Goblin killed her. So now, MJ, along with Ned, had came by. They found him, and that's where the two Peter Parkers had came, and they're about to, try to keep in touch with him. Try to make it up for everything that happened, and now they know how they feel because they lost someone too. Tobey's Parker lost Uncle Ben. Who was played by Cliff Robertson, while Garfield's Parker, as we know it, lost Gwen Stacy, but he also lost Uncle Ben as well. The one that was played by Martin Sheen. Gwen Stacy, of course, was played by Emma Stone. So now they know how they feel. So therefore, they decided to work together as a team. They're about to come up with some more experiments and other stuff that they had to use, so that way they'll be able to bring back all these villains, try to stop them as soon as they can, so they can get back to their universe where they belong, and that's what they're about to do during that night, while they're going straight into the Statue of Liberty, which was already in construction. They're trying to, remodeled and all. So that's what led to this particularly fight scene, and they be able to bring them back to life as normal. So first it would be the Lizard, then it would be the Sandman, and then, of course, Goblin, which led to this bigger fight too. But they all team up. They also save Michelle Jones, MJ, hoping that she won't get killed. And they also help Ned too. And they even tried to close the portal, but he couldn't. So after a while, everything was complete. They finally went back to their universes. Everyone around, and they found. And with Doctor Strange finally appearing back to his old portal, because he also helped out as well, that now he's going to create the spell exactly the way he wanted it, and this time not screw up, to finally get it right, where everyone's going to forget who he was. So now everything will go back to normal. But the sad part is, it's going to take a while for Peter Parker to get to know MJ, Michelle Jones, and Ned again. So he also visits the gravesite of Aunt May, just to make sure. He now has a new apartment, or perhaps his old apartment, so he's all alone. Now he's going to get ready to become Spider-Man again, just doing his vigilante that he's been doing, during his time. So, hoping for a next adventure. Yeah. Oh, okay. I love it, man. I really did love this movie, and I'm glad I saw it in theaters. I would love to see this again, too. Everyone was excellent in the film. It was fun, exciting, a lot of great special effects here and there. Great adventure. I was never disappointed, thank goodness. I was really happy that not only did I get to see everyone back again, even ones that they lost, and it's sad. It was great to see Tobey Maguire reprising his role as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. It's been a long time since I've seen Tobey Maguire in a movie in recent years, because the last movie I saw him in, I'm sure maybe he had a few, but I'm not so sure. But the last film he did that was a mainstream movie was The Great Gatsby. And that came out in 2013 with Leonardo DiCaprio as well as Carey Mulligan. So I haven't seen him in years. And that's a shame. So he's been moving on with his life. I know he's been going through other problems, but I guess he revived that. But it was really cool to see him again. He just lost his squeaky voice that he had in in all the trilogies that he was doing. So now he's sounding more fully adult. So it's great. And also Andrew Garfield. It was great to see him again too, as once again Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. I know they tried to go for that way too, because there was this funny scene in the movie where they're talking to Peter. Yeah, Ned was trying to contact him, but then everyone's like talking all at once, so they're all getting confused completely because they try to figure out which Peter are they talking to. Are they talking to the Holland one, or they're just talking to the Maguire and Garfield? Yeah, that was funny. Anyway, but it was great to see him too, because I also love him too, and he hasn't changed a bit too, because he already is doing that new movie called Tick Tick Boom on Netflix. Great film so far, and he's doing great as an actor. Anyway, and it's always nice to see the villains again too. I mean, and I'm glad they're finally going back to their old ways. I mean, even though we don't want to be like losing them, because that's exactly what Parker was trying to do. Like, he didn't want them to die by their fates like they were in the series. So it was nice to see Molina reprising his role as Doc Ock, Dr. Otto Octavius, and great to see Ray Ifans as Dr. Kirk Connors, aka the Lizard. And then we got to see Jamie Foxx, which apparently gave him a new look compared to what he looked in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, he was like a nerd. Completely. Of course, at that point on, I find it funny though, because he probably didn't even know who Parker was, or Spider-Man himself, but I kind of led to that because, because if you saw The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I know they had Harry Osborne playing the Green Goblin. So I know that led to so many villains they were going for too. Because I know they were going to get the Rhino. That was another villain. I know, I'm going over the place. Anyway, but Jamie Foxx just looks great. And it's great to see him too again. I know he's doing a lot of great movies in his career. It's great that Willem Dafoe have reprised his role. He hasn't quite changed a bit, though, if you think about it. He still looks quite the same. I know he's been doing a lot of great films too. Well, a recent film called The Lighthouse, which earned his performance and all. And I know he's been doing other movies recently too. He did a new movie called Nightmare Alley. I haven't seen that, but I heard some good things about it, or so. Anyway, but still, it was great. Some nice cameo appearances as we speak. It's nice that they actually have their original suits as we know it. Yeah, I know it got criticized by the Green Goblin suits from the first movie. Looking like a Power Ranger. Yeah, I got used to that. And I know Thomas Haden Church, it was great to... Well, he basically provided the voice, but they just used the archive footages of him. But he did great. I mean, it's nice to hear his voice and see him. But I wasn't the biggest fan of the Sandman character, so... Hey, I could live with this. And all, but... Okay. A lot of funny moments here and there, a lot of crazy dialogue, you name it. And I know there's some lame jokes, I'll be fair to say that. That Scooby-Doo joke that they put in the movie. Let's Scooby-Doo this shit, that Doctor Strange had to say. I thought that was kind of unnecessary, but whatever. Although it was great to see Benedict Cumberbatch playing Doctor Strange again. Because I know he played him in the Avengers movies. But of course, as we all know, he was in his film, Doctor Strange. So. Anyway. And it's great that all the other actors reprised their roles, but it's kind of sad that we lost what we know and love. And of course, Tom Holland is excellent, as usual, as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. You know, picking up the pace where it all left off, and continue to bring some more action, some one-liners and all. You know, just as handsome as ever. Because he was really having such a tough year, you know, appearing in 2 movies like Cherry that was on Apple TV Plus, and the movie Chaos Walking with Daisy Ridley from the Star Wars movies, as we know. So at least he finally had a winner for this one. Anyway, it's a fun movie. Incredible story, as told. It's worth watching more than once. If you see it in the theater, it's going to come out on digital later, on streaming, when it hits Blu-ray and DVD. So hopefully I will get this movie too. I mean, maybe I'll get it on 4K, because I'm trying to get some more movies on 4K too. But I've been getting some Blu-rays to join and DVDs. So you know me. So anyway, that's Spider-Man No Way Home. Definitely see it. Have fun. Don't worry about anything else. And I give the film 5 stars. I'm Joseph A. Sobora, and I'll see you later. Bye.